So in this video, we're going to go through IP settings. So IP settings is the option that's now available within the admin area, and this allows you to grant access for specific IPs in terms of the ability to log into the system. So if you wish to assign that only certain IP addresses, i.e. certain offices within your business, can access the system, then you can configure that to be the case. If you also then want to grant for certain users to also be able to connect to the system from other locations, then you can also configure that as well. So IP settings is about system access and about configuring which locations can access the system. In terms of the IP settings option, this is under the system row within the admin area, and this is enabled through a user group permission. So if we go to user group permissions, and if we go into the permissions group of admin, you will see the option here of IP settings there, and that needs to be set to full access. So on the basis that that is set to full access, you'll have the option to click on the IP settings option. So within IP settings, what you'll see is you've got two options, one being global IP settings and another option being add additional IP setting. So we've got global IP settings being that these are the settings that you would apply to all users. So if you wanted to have the IP addresses of all of your different offices as the example, then it's within here that you would add in those different IPs, and you can click plus there to add as many extra IPs as you want to add, really. But ultimately, yeah, you'd add in your IP addresses within here for your different offices to associate to all users. Alternatively, or as well as, what you can do is also add a user IP setting as well. So if I select a user, and this will be a list of all active users in the system. If I select a user, what you'll have is, first and foremost, it'll ask you whether or not you want to also have the global IP settings being used by this user. So ideally you would have them so that they're using the settings that you've set up if you want it to work within certain offices, but also in addition to that, you may want it so that they're also able to access the system from, say, their home address or a different IP that they're accessing from on a regular basis. In which case, from there, you can enter that IP address, and again, you've got the option to enter multiple IP addresses if you wish, but you can enter that IP address, hit save there, and then that creates an IP setting essentially associated with that user. So with that user, they are then entitled to access the system as per the global IP settings. So that could be a list of all of your offices, but also they have this additional IP address, which advises that they can access the system from that location as well. So obviously this is entirely down to yourselves with regards to your system access and your policy with regards to that, but this is how you administer the different users in the system, accessing the system from what locations. That covers IP settings within the admin area.